Okay. So this is why I prefer the word nutritional plan. It's a lifelong pattern of eating, and it's based around principles. Okay. So we're not following eating bacon for 30 days. We're not following eating cabbage for 30 days. It's not a lifelong pattern of eating. This is about principles. This is about adhering to a few very basic things. Because Ralph Waldo Emerson said that if the man who follows principles over methods is far likely to achieve success. Okay, so principles is what you should be looking for. The 4 cornerstones of a successful health-based nutritional plan. This is the way I see it. So you've got amino acids, okay, the building blocks of your body. We then need to consider the acidity and alkalinity of foods, the trace nutrients that help us to keep well and avoid sickness, and also the glycogen stores within our muscles, within our liver, and the way in which we utilize these glycogen stores to avoid excessive fat storage, but also to increase exercise efficiency. So the amino acids, these are at least generally the best amino acids tend to come from animal proteins. Okay. Now the branched chain amino acids are different to the other amino acids. They have potent stimulants for growth and repair. Okay, so there are amino acids that are not complete. Okay, and you'll get these from your beans and things like that. So when you mix those beans, then you get your full complement. But generally, if you can eat animal proteins, you'll get those branched chain amino acids that have the potent stimulants for growth and repair. These are best consumed post-exercise. Okay, so lean beef and fish are by far the best sources of these, and they reverse the effects of catabolic activity post-workout. So eating these things will actually stop your body from eating the muscle that you're working hard to maintain to keep your metabolism up. So getting your protein in is so important post-workout to maintain a system which is burning calories even when you're resting. Okay, reducing recovery time and increasing intensity at your next session is crucial in terms of your long-term training history, but also to maximize the benefits that you're getting from your training. So eating these foods will help with that. Acidity versus alkalinity. Alkalosis prevents muscle breakdown. So by consuming alkalizing foods, you can actually prevent breakdown of muscle. Now, all foods actually report to the kidneys as either acidic or alkaline in their base. Okay, modern foods such as cheeses, grains, salty processed foods leave us in an acidic environment. This is highly stressful to the body, as I mentioned earlier. So it's important for those engaging in trainings as some of the byproducts of training are actually acidic. So your hydrogen ions that you produce as a result of the breakdown of your fuel in your muscles actually acidic. So you've got to do something after training that's going to help to flush that back and get rid of the acidic conditions within the muscles. Now, because the Hot to Trot nutritional plan that I've designed is rich in vegetables and some fruits, this reverses the metabolic acidosis produced by fatty diets that tend to be highly laden in starch, sort of your pastas and your spaghettis and those kind of things, and lots of white potatoes, white rice, white bread. They're all really starchy, and this by actually using these fruit and vegetables actually helps to prevent muscle loss through the alkalizing effect. Okay. Okay, so the trace nutrients. Unlimited fruit and veggies in the Hot to Trot plan actually helps us to promote optimal immune system functioning. Okay, so you're actually going to function much better on a base level, like neurologically. You're going to function much better with all these, with all the antioxidants and the magnesium and the zinc within the vegetables and fruit that you're eating more of. Okay. Now, fruit, vegetables, and lean meats are excellent sources of zinc and vitamin B. Okay. And they all provide sources of antioxidants, vitamins, minerals, and phytochemicals as well. Now, refined grains, oils, sugars, and processed foods actually don't have any of these trace nutrients in them, okay, because they've been refined to such a state that there's no goodness left in them anyway, and they've actually added other stuff back into them to make them even worthwhile, even moderately worthwhile eating and to increase taste. So the people that tend to get sick and suffer with upper respiratory illness are those ones who sort of eat these processed foods, the grains, and all those bits and pieces that we mentioned previously on the last slide, tend to get upper respiratory illnesses more commonly than those who don't. Now this obviously has a massive impact on training, consistency and intensity, okay? If you constantly got a little chest infection, you never get in the intensity, And if if all of a sudden you go out on a binge one weekend and you get absolutely hammered and you drink loads of alcohol, and then it spills over into the week, and then you go train and you put another stress on your body, all of a sudden you've created a situation where your body's compromised, you've got not enough nutrients to help with the repair, and this is ultimately going to affect your results and the experience that you get when you train as a result of that. Okay, glycogen stores, the last one in this little sequence. Important for intense bursts of activity and training. Now, eating carbohydrates all day is overkill, and this is going to displace the muscle-building lean proteins and alkalinity-enhancing nutrient-dense foods that are needed to promote muscle growth and immunity. So, by eating lots and lots of carbohydrates all day, you're gonna actually you're going to get increased insulin levels, which decrease your testosterone, and that's going to have a massive effect on your ability to repair. And then you're going to increase the acidity, because generally these carbohydrates are, they're basically sugared, no matter what they are, whether it's Haribo or whether it's another carbohydrate. It doesn't really matter whether your body doesn't distinguish between the two. It just sends out insulin at a different rate to take the sugar out of your blood. So acidity caused by excessive carbohydrates is actually going to affect your immunity. Okay, so for this reason, I recommend only really eating the carbohydrates in and around training. Okay, and there's certain carbohydrates that we recommend. Okay, so moving on, your pre-exercise eating goals. Right, your goal should be to satisfy the hunger, restock glycogen stores after an overnight fast. Now, depending on which phase you're on in the Hot Shot Nutrition Program, we have different approaches to how we train and how we eat before training. But in the first 28 days, it's really simple. We look to restock the stores before we then move on to our overnight fast. Re-establish hydration levels, okay, after 8 hours of sleep, essentially. Optimize performance, okay, so prepare the body to recover quickly post-exercise, okay. The best way you can do this is to do all those things above, and to make sure that you're going to recover as quick as you can. So the pre-exercise food choices based around that. So fruit, not fibrous, okay, so stay away from your pineapples, your mangoes, those kind of fibrous fruits. Go for the more simple choices. Okay, so we're going for your banana, those kind of things there that are easily digested. You can mash them up. Okay, eggs as well. Eggs really biologically available to the body. You can get the protein in really easily before training. Maybe consider a liquid meal, so like a smoothie with some protein in it. Using eggs, using some linseed, some flax, maybe some oils. Flaxseed oil I like to add in with like a shake. Really good for pre-exercise. Now, I would always advise trying to eat at least 10 to 15 minutes before you actually train. This is to prevent hypoglycemia. So basically, you have an insulin response in response to the food you've eaten. But what you don't want to do is you don't want to end up with that blood sugar level dropping just as you're about to start training. So eat at least 15 minutes before you start training if you're going to eat this kind of food before. All right. Post-exercise eating goals. Okay, so you need to replace all the expended carbohydrate stores. Okay, to prevent dehydration. Okay, replace all expended carbohydrate stores. Okay, initially, just to get your blood sugar levels back up and also replenish the stores in your muscle. Prevent dehydration whilst avoiding hyponatremia. Okay, the hyponatremia is too much water flooding the cells. Okay, so you want to be drinking water, but you don't want to be flooding your cells, so you want to be drinking it gradually. Okay, so you don't want to be like necking 2 liters of water straight after training. Okay, you want to be gradually drinking it over the course of the day or after training, and then making sure you're restocking. Every time you get up, if you get up in the night, drinking again. This will also prevent nervous system fatigue. Okay, so preventing muscle wastage. Okay, by restocking on amino acids that have been damaged during exercise, because you do damage the muscles when you train. Okay, they tear. You get little micro tears in the muscle. So you need to, post exercise, you want to be thinking about getting those amino acids in to replenish that and help build the body again after training. That's how you get the training effect. Replace electrolytes, so particularly your potassium and your sodium, okay, in and out of the cell during training, during the sweat that you secrete whilst you're training. So replacing those using those plenty of like nutrient dense foods, particularly your green veggies will help with that on that front. Reduce acidity, so look to try and reduce the sugar, reduce the refined portion of your food. Although I do recommend some quick release sugars straight after training to help with the blood sugar levels, but generally after that, after an hour, you want to be thinking about, okay, I've got to start alkalizing what I'm doing here now to help with my recovery. And also, you want to prevent hunger as well, because you don't want to be feeling hungry after training. Otherwise, you'll start eating the wrong things. So your nutrition after exercise, you've got a golden hour, right? Keep it low in fiber, all right? Fiber is one way to reduce the glycemic index of foods, but you don't want this post-exercise, as it will sit in the gut and soak up fluids. Okay, so you want to be able to keep things that are like really easily digested within that first hour. Otherwise, you're going to start soaking up fluids and you're going to become more dehydrated. I'd say taking mostly carbohydrates. Okay, not very much like difference, but 60-40 split perhaps. But you want to be eating net alkalizing carbohydrates such as bananas, some potato, some sweet potatoes, and some tomatoes will help with that. Also include protein within that meal, for sure. Okay, within the hour, like I said, carbohydrates 60-40. You want to be getting your lean meats in there, your fish, your turkey. That's that meal afterwards. Eggs, if it's perhaps in the morning, or even I actually quite like to eat sort of salmon steaks for breakfast with veg, because the salmon has and the different fishes, the oily fishes, have great benefits for the brain, and they work really well in the morning. So that's a really good thing to do, especially to avoid hunger later in the day. And hydrate well, so talking about drinking perhaps 1 litre for every 50 pounds of body weight, roughly. Okay, so beyond food, the definition of a supplement. Okay, so supplements are a big buzzword and everyone thinks, oh, I'll take a supplement for this, that'll help me with that. Well, you know what? Supplements are exactly what they are. They're meant to supplement an already good diet. Okay, they're not there to replace anything. Okay, they're there to supplement a good diet, supplement a good lifestyle. Okay, that's what they're meant to do. They're not meant to replace anything. Okay, you shouldn't be drinking just supplements. Okay, as your main meals. Meal replacements. It's a joke. You shouldn't be replacing meals with a supplement. Okay, you should be eating good, clean, whole foods, and then supplementing on top of that if there's any other areas that you feel are going to help towards your goal. Unfortunately, supplementation is almost needed nowadays in most cases because of the poor quality of the soil due to sort of commercial farming and erosion. Supplements to avoid. Okay, so iron. Only really take this if you're prescribed it by your doctor. Okay, particularly men who don't menstruate. Honestly, they don't. And excess levels of this can actually be toxic to men because they have no real way of getting rid of it. And testosterone as well, like you can get human growth hormone and all those different bits and pieces like pills that you can get to boost your metabolism. Men tend to take these when they're looking for strength gains, but there is actually little evidence really to show that it's necessary or even, and certainly whether it's safe or not. Supplements to add though: antioxidants, okay, vitamin C, reduce the negative effect of free radicals. Now, after you finish training, after you when you eat foods, the chemical reactions that happen. You actually produce these chemicals that will actually essentially damage cells. So the fitter you are, the more efficient you are at replenishing these, and the better your food is, the reduced effect you're going to have, or reduced level of free radicals in your body. Fish oils, okay, these are liquid, I reckon. You should be taking these in liquid form. Some capsules are good, but they do go a bit rancid if they're left in the pots in the capsules. And these are really used to reduce inflammation. Now, vitamin D is a great supplement to take if, particularly in the winter months when we're not getting a lot of sun. Vitamin D has been associated with serotonin and hunger. When we're reduced in our sort of happy hormones, and then we're going to start craving more sort of carbohydrates as a result of reduced levels of that through lack of sunlight. And also glutamine for helping with recovery. This is important for long distance runners. in terms of their recovery from bouts of long exercise. It's going to be sapping the glutamine stores from the bones, along with along with the calcium as well. So that's a great one if you do any sort of longer distance work.